Okay, so let's talk about your first review. So I'm going to go ahead and click onto it. It's the last thing that you have in week 2, and this is pretty much what you're going to see going forward. Now, the first thing is this assignment is probably different than anything you've done in Canvas and other courses because this is a new product, and as I'd said at the beginning of the course, it's something I helped create. And I'm pretty excited about it, also a little nervous, but I am enjoying the process of learning. And so the video you're watching here is for the assignment. Couple things just to get started. And this is an interactive quiz that you have to answer 15 questions correctly, and then you have to ask 5 questions, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. The content and the SQL that's going to be in here is from part 1, 2, and 3 and the syllabus. So not a bad idea to look over your notes before you get started. Now you can take this multiple times. As a matter of fact, I kind of recommend taking it multiple times because it's good practice. It's just good to get that muscle memory of doing it. Okay? Now, the other thing about this assignment is it's different in this sense that normally with this type of submission where you submit something, and it's called an assignment, you've been doing this. Like if I was to look back at the course, you've been doing this for the setup, you've been doing it for the welcome, for the setup, the dev environment, and for querying 1 and then querying 3. So this one shows the same icon, but in this case where you might normally think new attempt, you don't do that. You scroll down here and you hit start chat assignment. Okay, and this is the content that I have here. All right, so just be clear about that before you start. So when you start chat assignment, you're going to get a new window. And so in this window, you're going to log in with your student ID. Okay, if your student ID has a leading zeros, which most do, use that. And then when you hit sign on, it'll say, hey, is this you? It'll want you to agree, and then you have to actually do a couple of other agrees before you get to the very first page as far as, and we call these ACCs, AI Canvas chat. Okay, so I've taken all that content, and now what you're going to do is you're going to answer 15 questions correctly, and then you're going to ask 5 questions. Now, these buttons on the bottom, as soon as I click this one, then it's going to start the chat, which, by the way, you don't have to answer quickly, but if you do answer quickly, as a matter of fact, I just went through one, it actually gives you a few more points. But I wouldn't let that intimidate you because really this thing is intended to help you see how well you translated the skills, okay? But as soon as I hit this one, then this one will become available, but don't hit the 5 questions until you finish this. Now, I've set up the prompt such that it will remind you. But you know, I just finished, as a matter of fact, here, I just finished going through here, and some of the things they were asking me about some SQL, but they weren't, and I asked for clarification, and you can totally do that, okay? So when you're going through this assignment and you're not sure what it's asking, you can ask for clarification. That's great, okay? So let's actually get started now that I've just given you the overview. So click answer, and by the way, now you get the input prompt. Okay, so this is now what it's like for those of you that may have not seen ChatGPT. And in the background, it's actually sending information to OpenAI, who owns Chat or created ChatGPT, but your personal information is not sent over. Okay, so now you're going to do this, right? Got it. Let's make this fun and engaging. I'll ask you SQL-related questions and mark your responses. Remember to aim to 15 correct questions, right? And then once you get 15, right, and it'll tell you once you get to 15, then you click Ask 5 questions, okay? So as an example, in this first one, what command do you use to retrieve all columns and rows from the long list, right? Your turn. So this is where you write this, and you can't copy and paste. You actually have to write this, which is the idea, right? From long list, okay? And write it correctly. Okay, correct, good. Okay, so I got 1 point. So now I'll continue on, right? I'll answer 15 questions, and again, it will tell you, it'll keep track. And if you don't answer, if you if it asks you 15, but you haven't answered 15 correctly, just keep going until you get to 15. Okay? Once you get to 15 answered correctly, then you click on Ask 5. Now, I'm actually going to test this to see how well this does right now. It says, got it. And it'll say, let's stay focused, because the idea is that it wants you to submit or wants you to complete this before you move on. So the idea is not to go to the next button until you've finished. And now it's asking me, actually basically repeated the last question. And so once I've finished the 15, and then I ask questions. Now you can ask anything from what we've covered. Again, in Canvas, if I go back, querying part 1, 2, and 3 in the syllabus, you can ask anything from those when you ask questions, okay? And then once you finish asking 5 questions, it's programmed to remind you to submit the assignment. Now, when you submit the assignment, your chat session gets sent to Canvas for you and I to review. So I would consider this in some ways another note, another way to have notes, to see first how these assignments work, to review them if you wanted to go back and do that, to also challenge them, because AI is not always correct. All right. So just know that that's the case. Now, again, I'm just going to simulate the idea. Matter of fact, let me go to the one I did, right? So in this case, I asked 6 questions. Now it's time to remind you, don't forget, and it should ask you to get credit. And this is important, right? To get credit for this assignment. Now, I only require you to submit it once. Now, what you're doing is when you submit this, it actually submits that, like I said before. But you can come back here and do it again, and then you will see all of your submissions. So when I hit the submit assignment submitted, and then what will happen is this little progress bar, because it's collecting all that content and then running it over to Canvas, and then at this point you're done. You can no longer interact, and you just close the window. Okay, so I'm going to close these other ones as well. And then what will happen is that now is available to you, and I don't think I'll see it because I'm in the student view, but just in case, let's see if I would see it in grades. The student view is a little weird. Oh, actually querying. Oh, good. It is here. Okay, so I could go in there and look at it, right? So I could go in there and review it. Now, again, if you wanted to retake it, then you would do the same thing where you come down here, right? Again, and in this case, if you struggle with this, talk to me about this, because really what we're doing here is seeing how well you translated the concepts and the skills and the things in the syllabus from a interactive idea. That's the idea of this AI chat, AI Canvas chat assignment. Anyway, I hope you have fun with this. I will ask you for feedback starting in week 3. All right, make sure you get this done. Again, you can submit it multiple times. Make sure you do submit it. If you only do it once, that's up to you, but I recommend actually doing it more than once. All right, talk to you later.